Hey everyone, Jason here, host of the BombCast. Thank you guys for joining us and saying hello. See many of you like Michael and Mark and Laura Anderson already given us some waves that you're watching. So thank you guys for tuning in for today's episode 34 of the BombCast. We've got Markus with us. Markus runs sales and marketing over at why did I just space it? Markus, tell us about that really quick. StreetText. I don't know why I totally blinked.
It's because it's not the word on the street yet for you, buddy.
It's not the word on the street. No, I was thinking text street. I was flipping that around in my head. StreetText. Markus, tell us a little bit about what you guys do over there.
Yeah, well, I mean, we originally got started in 2009 with textable sign writers. That's where hence the name StreetText, texting, right? Textable sign writers. But we moved into the lead generation space on Facebook and Instagram. So we work with realtors, specifically helping them generate new relationships. I think so it comes down to, because it used to be this thought of lead generation in my mind is kind of the day of old. Relationship marketing is here to stay, and I'm excited to talk about that.
Yeah, so what's exciting today is what we're going to be talking about is how Markus has been using video in his business. We'll talk a little bit about what StreetText does, but for the most part, we wanted to bring him on because he's actually a BombBomb user and a practitioner for lead conversion and processes and systems that he's helping others put into place, but he's done it himself. So that's what's always so fascinating to us, and the guests that we're bringing on is when they're actually executing these ideas in their business and to bring that value to everyone. You already had a couple of people came on that said you are a video ninja. So excited to be sitting down and talking about that. But let's just start off kind of high level, Markus. Tell me kind of just a little bit about your video journey with the company, and when was that moment for you where you're like, oh my gosh, we got to start doing this for us to start connecting with our customers?
You know, I can't remember. It was probably like 3 years ago. I first was introduced to it by Taylor. I know he just jumped into the office here. I just started hearing that there was this video email technology, and I was captivated by that. I'm like, how many times do we get emails or try to compose an email and someone really takes it wrong? Like or you're trying to communicate something and it's not effective, and you have this long email thread back and forth. And at the end of the day, like, you just wanted to get in front of them and have a conversation. And so when I first saw that unique opportunity, I was like, I got to go after this. Like, here's a way to get face to face with somebody, for them to know who I am. And I think it really humanizes the process in terms of email technology. And most of my communication was being done with realtors before I got a chance to actually meet them via email, getting them ready for the demonstration we were going to have. So if you can imagine, one of the biggest problems when you're doing demos, especially from the sales side, is getting them to actually show up.
Yes.
So you got this like 50% rate of people that actually don't even get there. So for me, having the opportunity for them to meet them really would bring, I think, like this emotional connection. Like, hey, I know I'm gonna actually be meeting with somebody. This is not a machine. This is not some sort of automated process. And then communicate what the meeting was going to be all about. And as soon as I was able to do that, like, it was a game changer.
So you started implementing it in the business. You started getting results of people showing up to your demos, showing up to the appointments, and then ultimately getting more business done. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I think at the end of the day, where we know, I mean, I've done some studying on this. 90% of your business is process. 10% is magic. I could flip that and say 90% of leads generated, or I should say, let me just put it this way. I think if you look at lead generation as a full, 90% of that comes down to how you are able to talk to that lead. If you don't have an effective system to do that, to start a dialogue, you're gone. You're pulling the slot machines at Vegas. Only 10% of that is really generating. Everybody can generate leads, but how many people are really effective at taking a lead and turning that into a client? And that's no different from anybody in any sales environment.
Dude, I love that. Absolutely love that. So tell me a little bit, as we start kind of thinking about this video journey and you start putting it into practice, you really started to start to see the value of branding and becoming a bit of an influencer in your market center as a way to get more business done. Talk about a little bit of that journey and how you've begun to do that and then help others.
Well, I think what I really love about the message that you guys really came up with this and coined the idea of know, like, and trust, right? So for me, when I look at Facebook and Instagram, I think of the know part of it, right? I think of your brand, your know. And so what we do is we take and manage and run Facebook business pages. And what I try to communicate to realtors is that you're building your tribe. Like, it's your community. Your know is your brand. So ultimately, that's what advertising on Instagram and Facebook is for, is to develop that presence, to get in front of that person, that target audience, create a call to action that's engaging, and for them to click through. And then the like and trust model, that really comes down to the human interaction, right? That's the ability to get face with somebody. Now, if you're leveraging a technology that, like, I mean, we live in this day and age where everybody's glued to their phones, right? Like on their news feed on Instagram, like, I'm guilty of it. You're guilty of it. How much time do we spend on this smartphone? As I feel like as connected as we are, we're so disconnected at the same time. So if we're almost mindlessly scrolling down our news feed and we click on something that intrigues us, it's almost coming as a subconscious level, right? So as they click through and they're interested in something, how do you go from subconscious to conscious? Well, you need to have something that's powerful. And the first thing they see and understand that this is a real person that wants to connect with you, I mean, that in itself is a game changer. So
something I want to throw at you, because I hear this a lot, and I'm sure if our audience is watching, please be dropping questions in as well. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
New people pop on, let us know where you're coming to us from, and make sure you're thinking about questions. We'll be asking them of Markus. That's the value of showing up live as interaction. This isn't just a monologue between the two of us. But that said, I know a lot of people are starting to feel like maybe things are getting a little bit saturated when it comes to video, right? I mean, we've been talking about video. Video's been around for a bit now, right? And now it kind of senses like, okay, everyone's doing video, but really what you're speaking about in this connection piece, what's behind that? Like, what's one level deeper of saying, okay, I get it. Yeah, people want to connect, but what does the actual connection look like?
Man, that's soul level, right? That mind, will, and emotions. That's like your body language and tonality says everything about you. That's allowing someone to see into your soul, to allow to see someone into what like makes you, your passions, your love, your interests. You is ultimately what they fall in love with. So when you're doing something that's very impersonal, like lead generation, the only way to create connection is through human interaction and for them to actually see, like, and trust you. So if you never get that opportunity and you're relying on something like an email drip or some text, okay, that right there in itself is like doing yourself a huge disservice. They may never get to meet you. You're just wasting money. You're just wasting money. That's what I feel like. And yeah, you get a few new relationships here and there. And once they get to meet you, they fall in love with you. But have the opportunity for every single person who clicks on your ad to meet you.
Right.
And then for you to communicate who you are and what you'd like to do with them, and not come from a place of I'm trying to get your business. I mean, we all know that's there's underlying truths under that, but maybe that, like, for someone who is generally there to serve and give value, that's going to show through. They're going to know right away.
Well, and I think the thing that's so interesting about that is some of the shift. You were talking a little bit about it earlier in this idea of relationship marketing. And how important relationship marketing really is. And there's a lot of different ways to look at it, and it's been written on. But I think, for everyone that's watches, but it's important to remember about, in my mind, when it comes to relationship sales or relationship marketing or any sort of digital sales or marketing, regardless of the industry that you're in, is that it's no longer the product that people are choosing. It's you that represents the product, right? Amen. Back in the day of brick and mortar, you would walk into a building for the product and you would have to interact with the salesperson to help educate you on that product. And it's their ability to educate you on that product that maybe swayed you towards this thing or that. Now, we talk a lot about this idea of 0 moments of truth. And if you don't know what that is, go Google it. There's some fantastic things around it. But ultimately, what 0 moments of truth is really touching on is someone just jumped in my video feed, and I don't know who that is.
That's Steve. I think you might have clicked on the wrong link.
Hey, Steve, how's it going? You're live.
Steve is the co-founder of StreetText.
Oh, what's up, Steve? I don't think you can see us. I'm going to stop this video though, so that we're there we are. So anyways, back to what I was saying there.
Hey, I want to actually laying on what you're saying there is like, I like to think of the difference between Amazon and Best Buy, right? Think of that experience at Best Buy. I've heard someone say they don't like to purchase on Amazon because when they go into Best Buy, it's the educational experience they get. No one's trying to sell them on anything. It's customer service. And that's why they stay loyal to Best Buy, right? Because it is a human interaction where Amazon's very impersonal. And it's not that Amazon's a great model, but you're relying on testimonials through reviews, right? But there's no real reaction or human interaction there. So I think that's a key to look at when you're looking at this relationship-based marketing and internet model, is that we're leveraging something like, Instagram and Facebook, and I mean, you name it, Google, SEO, any way of advertising for that matter, until they get in front of you, they're painting 1,000 pictures in their mind. If you try to send them a text, if you try to send them an email without that relationship opportunity, I mean, how many times do we just either not look at it, delete it, or it goes to a spam filter, or we just decide, hey, this person is just some sort of salesman trying to get my business. I'm out of here. Like, I'm not going to reply to him.
Right.
So,
well, and you were talking a little bit also about the idea of your tribe, right? And connecting with kind of your people, and ultimately what that force that brings something around a tribe or following something or becoming a fan, right? Becoming a raving fan of whatever it is typically because of the interaction that you had with that brand. And that interaction might come from just it in of itself being the product. But for the majority of people that are watching, I would imagine they're going to become a raving fan of you.
Yep.
And that's ultimately what you're driving people to. They're not going to become a raving fan of the houses you sell if you're a real estate agent, because you're probably only going to help sell them one or two or a couple, right, over the course of time. But they're going to fall in love with you. And that's the key thing that you have to remember and help kind of be able to cultivate. So let's get a little bit tactical, though, here, Markus. When we start talking about some of these things, what are some of the ways that you're seeing agents really get them, and Kurt just asked a great question of enticing them to starting a relationship with you? Why would that even begin in the first place?
Well, are we talking about from my perspective or from a realtor's perspective?
Let's go a little bit from your perspective. And then I know you gave me some examples of how realtors might do this. And I want to show those examples. So let's kind of first start from your perspective and then shift into maybe how realtors might.
Well, I think it just comes down to value. I mean, ultimately, everybody's there because they're looking for something they'd like to accomplish. So you got to just really become an expert asking the right questions. Because like to create that emotional response, they're there and they think that they're the bigger picture. At this case is that most realtors who want to meet with me are looking to generate more business. They want to sell more homes. Okay. So initially when they come in, they're probably pretty guarded. They're probably like, who are you? How, and this whole typical response is what is this and how much does it cost?
Right.
And I think you want to destroy that and really come in from a place of just wanting to serve and just asking questions. Like, find out what they're really looking to accomplish. What are their goals? What are their pains? How could you come in there and help them? Is it even a fit in the first place? Right. And I think it's just, it has to go from this old like product first model to relationship first. Let's have a dialogue. Let's have a conversation. Let's really get to know one another and make sure there's actually a long-term opportunity to be in a relationship together.
So you're saying the enticing piece of the starting the relationship is the value that you're putting out there, the thing that you're providing, or maybe the insight or the perspective that's going to start the relationship?
Absolutely. I mean, if I was trying to go after somebody for the first time and I haven't met them, I'm just going to send them a quick video, hey, Jason, quick question, right, with my whiteboard. And essentially just say, hey, I know we have a demo scheduled for today, but before we do that, I just want to really learn about you. I just have a quick question. Maybe if even with a one-liner, you can let me know, what are you looking to accomplish? What can I do for you in this meeting?
So I think we actually have an example of something very similar to that you sent me. So I'm going to go ahead and have Matt roll that, and then let's break it down on the other side. So here you go.
Seller demo?
Yeah, this is the seller demo. This is someone that you're teeing up that came in that's a potential seller and trying to get a demo on there for them. So here it is.
Cheers. Hey, it's Markus from StreetText. You just experienced a seller demo. Essentially, the Facebook user was scrolling down their newsfeed, usually on their smartphone. They clicked on that ad. They wanted to know how much their home could sell for. They gave you their information, at least an email. This type of thing can automatically be shot off to them, and you can have a script right there ready to go. So one video automatically duplicate yourself over and over again, and then you're going to do that with a personal reply as well. I will show you tips similar to this. I'm excited to share with you my conversion hacks. Look forward to working with you soon.
All right, so there you are. You're talking a little bit about kind of what someone would have experienced with you when it comes to the seller demo and giving them a little bit of the value. How do you see that really kind of help entice the relationship or take the relationship from that type of video?
Okay, well, let's just paint the whole picture first of all. So when someone's on Facebook, okay, and they're scrolling down their newsfeed or on Instagram and they see an ad. In this case, I'm going to give you the example. The ad's going to say, if someone were to buy your Colorado Springs home, would you sell it? Find its value in the current market. You're literally in that moment having someone click through, provide an address, and at very least an email, right? For them to get this email on the other side because they want to know how much their home could sell for. So in that very moment, if they're logged in online on the internet and they go to check their email, whether that's immediately or in the next 10 minutes, hour, who knows when they check their email next, they receive that. They may have completely forgot that they requested it, or in turn, they may have also thought they were getting something automatically online. Okay. So you are now destroying that misconception, whatever they have decided in their head that that's what's supposed to happen on the other side, and coming from a place of, hey, by the way, thank you so much for requesting your home value on Facebook. I just have a few quick questions before I get this value to you. When's the best time to get a hold of you? I mean, I've just made that up. Like there's 1,000 ways we can do this. But think about it from on their end, right? When they probably thought they were getting something. They probably thought that it's automatically generated. They probably thought, check your email. You just read. So now they know this is a real person looking to help them and serve them, and they need a little bit more information before they can get that over. Right?
So tell me, I love that. But the thing I'm also curious about, Markus, is how did you, as you started doing all these videos, kind of find your voice, if you will? I think for a lot of people that are looking to begin doing videos and looking to get into this, it's always fascinating to me, like, did you just was it through practice? Do you feel like this is kind of how you typically talk? But what helped you ultimately kind of get comfortable in delivering these types of scripts and building relationships this way?
Oh man, that's a good question. I think in the beginning, it's just, you just do it. I mean, I heard one time on the other side of fear is your greatest success, right? And I think we all have that initially. Like not all of us are just naturally just get on the camera and we're naturals. You didn't just get to that place where you are right now and have this ability just to lead and be an influencer on video. You could probably remember back to your starting point, like how weird it was, how maybe insecure you felt in the beginning, but you just started doing it. And the more you started doing it, the more comfortable it felt. And before you know it, it's like riding a bike, right? It's no different than anything we do. I like to take the whole metaphor at the gym. Like in the beginning, like doing a push-up maybe might be the hardest thing and you have to go down to your knees. But before you know it, you're bench pressing, double your body weight. Like you had to put in the reps to get there. But the best thing you can do is just be you. The best thing you can do is any advice I give to anybody is like, don't overthink it. Don't look for scripts. You're gonna probably not like the way you look, the way you sound. You're gonna be like pretty, you're probably gonna have some level of fear behind it. But once you start doing it, that all goes away. Yeah. And people really are craving that interaction. Like pull out your phone while you're out at an open house. Pull out your phone while you're showing a property. Pull out your phone while you're at the gym sweating. People are going to relate more to that than they are, I like the way Chris talked about it last week on BombCast. You don't need to be Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right.
It's like no one wants that scripted. Like no one can duplicate that. Like there's a time and place for that type of video content. But I think at the end of the day, people just want you. They want real you. Don't worry about fumbling on your words. Like people are going to connect more with you being real than they are scripted any day.
Yeah, love it. And I think I'm curious if anyone that's watching, do you agree, disagree? Give us a thumbs up, a comment. Let us know your perspective in that. Do you find that to be true? It's a question I often ask our guests, and I'd say It's this interesting theme of what it takes to get there. And it does come down to this idea of reps and just doing it. And in the process of doing it, you begin to kind of find your way. At what point did you begin to start bringing in some of these strategies? Because your videos are very intentional, right? I mean, when I went in and started watching it, and when you're setting these follow-up appointments, or you're setting demos, or you're reaching out to someone for the first time, you're not just hopping on the camera and just kind of talking for 20, 30 seconds. And the one thing I appreciate too is you're extremely succinct in your messaging. Like, a lot of your videos are 15, 20 seconds, but it's right to the point. Your personality comes through. So when did you begin to find some of those strategies coming into play?
Man, to be honest, a lot of this stuff I think comes from I wouldn't even say they are strategies as much as doing them over and over again. Before you know it, you find what works and what doesn't work. So it almost becomes second nature. Like, I know, for example, if I'm doing a canned response, and here's the example. There are going to be certain themes in the way you respond to email that you're going to have to do over and over and over again. And before you know it, that just becomes a strategy, because you know what people are responding to. For the example of rescheduling, right? Like, how many times someone doesn't show up. So you are going to create a video that you don't need to have to say over and over again if it's something that happens so many times, and it could still be just as genuine and just as real. And I find that with a lot of my clients, it's like, okay, I don't have the time maybe to get to them right away. So at least have an auto response that can automatically fire out and make them feel like it's real time, like they're addressed, they're being personally addressed. And I actually have an agent who's done 100 deals that way, right? And they're both canned responses. They're not even personal responses. That just blows my mind.
Right.
When you think about, this ability to get a relationship started just by being in front of video. And this is like an 11-second video, if you can imagine. So it's no different for many of us. Like, I think, yes, there's a time and place for one-on-one, like busting out my whiteboard and saying, Jason, quick question,
Yes.
And they seeing you mouth it like Chris was talking about. They see the animated version of it. But so there's also a time where all of us live extremely busy lives. And if really, truly the success that we're looking for in many ways comes down to leveraging your time and the process, then you have to have those systems in place that allows you to be there all the time, right?
Right.
And makes them feel like they are personally getting the attention they deserve. And that's your ultimate intention. If that's the case, they're going to get that, but they're going to fill out initially, even if that's at 3 a.m. Right?
All right. So I think you gave me one example of this as well that I want to jump to. Matt's going to go ahead and cue it up here on this kind of, remind me what the title of it, Matt. It was the buyer funnel, right? The buyer that's coming in, right? So tee this up. You gave me this example the other day. It's kind of like, I was a buyer and you were responding back to me. So
yeah, before we get into it, it'd be typically what it would be a someone on Facebook or Instagram scrolling down their newsfeed, and they see something that says, get your free list of homes for sale in Colorado Springs under $499. I'm just making it up. And so they click on that list. They provide their email because they want that list. Maybe they tell you a little bit about their home, but that would be they're like, I want that list. I want to know what's available in the Colorado Springs market under $499. And that's their whole intention to get there.
Awesome. All right, let's play the example.
Hey, it's Markus from StreetText. You just tested out the buyer funnel. I'm going to share with you an example script. Now, what goes out automatically is something like this. Thank you for requesting the list of homes for sale in Kelowna. Before I send you a list, I just want to double check your price point. Or are you only looking for homes under $199? Please let me know, and I'll send you that list as soon as possible. Now, let me emphasize putting a name to the face, humanizing the process. There's studies that show 93% of communication or more is body language and tonality. It's such a beautiful way to introduce yourself and communicate any questions that you might have before you automatically just send them anything. I will work with you on the script. Look forward to sharing with you more secrets like this.
Awesome. All right. So I love that. You shared this script. You break it down a little bit of being able to rehumanize that process of putting a face with a name, which I love. But the thing I actually want to get into is the bulk of that script is actually based around a question, And the question is confirming the price point. Why? Why are you leading with that question, and what's that really doing for you?
Because it starts so vague in general. Like anybody can look for a home under $499 or $199, but what are you looking for? Like maybe price point is just one of the things you're looking for. Maybe it's a specific neighborhood. Maybe it's some certain amenities. What is it exactly you're looking for? Let me know so I can help design and find you that perfect property. It's more than just a list, a generic list that they have to go figure out what's in that list. First of all, I mean, maybe it doesn't even fit what they're looking for. Maybe price is just one of many factors there.
And that's ultimately helping you understand the customer a little bit more, and it's invoking a reply, right? Because you're going to get someone to respond to you when you lead with that question versus saying, hey, just want to put a face with the name. That list is in your inbox. Have a great rest of your day.
Never leave them with that. The best, and here's what I've learned, and I've done lots of sales training. I mean, it's just basic psychology if you think about it. Like the best in their field are the best at asking questions. Okay, so why would you ever generate any sort of new relationship opportunity without asking a question? Isn't the whole point of lead generation to start a relationship? So I think we need to understand that, and I think Tony Robbins even says that 80% of your results is psychology, right? Like, think about it. Like, I think we live in this just world that just go, and no one stops to think that like it is a relationship focused business. And this is where you need to start shifting from your marketing and advertising to be anything but relationship focused.
Yeah. I mean, we talk a lot about it. I think that's why video is working so well, because of the psychology, because it's allowing us to do things that frankly, text doesn't play into psychology super well.
Not at all. Not at all. You might get replies there, but it's so impersonal. I mean, the only time there's a time and place for text, and it's just like to get, but you know how many, man, and you could probably say this with your wife. How many times have you sent text conversations back and forth and it's blown up or it's gone wrong? Whereas if you would have just had the opportunity to say what you wanted to say face to face, nothing would like text is the worst place to communicate, other than if you have like a fact, like, hey, see you in 5 minutes, right?
Something that's fascinating to that, and I don't know how many of our users or if you guys in your offices use Slack or not, right? Slack's like an internal communication tool that's supposed to be the email killer, right? And it was supposed to save you from having to deal with millions of emails, but now you just have millions of unread messages in Slack that you have to deal with. But what's fascinating to me is that it still is the basic problem that communicating over text leads to miscommunication and misunderstanding, and it doesn't solve the problem of what you were just saying, that it's better to communicate face-to-face versus being able to just communicate through text. And I remember there was a Slack outage a couple of months ago, and there was all these memes popping up that people had to like get up away from their desk and actually go communicate with their coworkers.
Wow.
And but that's really the environment that we live in. We are still so much text based, but sometimes we're so much more efficient and effective by just being able to go talk to someone, or by being able to just send them a video.
Well, that's not sometimes to me. I think that's all the time. I mean, if you look at it, if we're really, I mean, I don't know where that number came from, but I firmly believe it and tell everybody that 93% of body language tonality number is communication. Why would you rely on a communication that is essentially maybe 5% effective? Right? It's just mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling to me. Mm-hmm. Like, why would you rely on that model to communicate anyways if you know that that's only 5% effective? If you knew of something, it's like if you knew the cure to business problems, wouldn't you want that cure?
Yeah,
I do. If I knew that I had the opportunity to be 93% effective with everything I did, I'd jump all over it. So I mean, at the very minimum, I ask people just to ask themselves, like, if you want more relationships, if you want to generate more opportunities, whatever you're looking at, whatever industry you're in, it doesn't matter. If you just want to communicate more effectively, you need to consider this. Video emailing is here to stay, and it's not going anywhere. And I feel like it is essentially the way of the future. Like, this will be the way we communicate.
Well, and I think a lot of ways of what you're speaking to is, again, this idea of video, and that everybody that's watching is probably already convinced that video is absolutely crucial to the future of communication and how we do things. And as we are in a more digital space, being able to recreate physical interaction. I think that's the really interesting thing to me is trend-wise, the pendulum is always swinging between the digital and the physical. And in a lot of ways, we really swung hard into the digital space. You begin to start seeing things kind of equalize a little bit and coming back into the physical, i.e. Amazon buying Whole Foods, right? There's been multiple case studies already written on this idea of a digital product, quote unquote, needing to come into a physical space because of the value that it provides its consumers. And I think that's a lot of what video is giving us is this ability to, you're up in Canada, we're down here, we've never met face to face, and yet we're able to have this interaction like you're sitting across from me here. And we've got who knows how many people watching in and on this conversation. And it's really the beauty of what this format is giving us in this medium. So as we begin to wrap things up, I have one final question for Markus that he doesn't know is coming. It's my favorite question to ask at the end of the BombCast episodes. If you have a question, drop it in. I'll make sure to ask that to him here as we wrap things up. But Markus, I'm really curious. So many of our guests who are spending a lot of time thinking about this, they're investing into their business. That a lot of times there's certain things that you might be kind of nerding out on, if you will. But there's been taking up a lot of your mind share of what you want to be doing in your business or how you want to be getting better. What's something right now that you're just kind of nerding out on?
Oh man, that's a great question. I think we've been nerding out on like just what's that mean to be an influencer in your space? Mm-hmm. And if you have this opportunity to have that influence, what is it that you want to say? I think ultimately we're all looking to build a community and we're all looking to build that tribe. And so I'm just a firm believer that I want to give every opportunity to anybody that works with me to have that opportunity to grow. Right? Like I'm somebody who's constantly seeking to be the best version of myself. I'm constantly seeking personal growth and development. And I want to know everything that can help me get there, from, the way I manage my time to the way I manage my resources. I'm a huge believer in it's mind, body, and soul. I'm a huge believer in you just have to be constantly learning. And those realtors that connect with me, or those people that connect with me they're just hungry. And they have this insatiable appetite to look inside and say, what's that one thing I can do in my business? What's that one thing I can do in my health? What's that one thing I can do in my relationship with my wife? Like, always ask yourself, reflect, and then just consider that there's a lot of things vying for attention. But what's ultimately going to help you grow? And here's an opportunity to say, would video help you grow? Like, is it scary? Yes. But is there an opportunity for you to grow and be an influencer to those people that you want to get in front of? And that's not necessarily going to be just new clients. It's going to be past clients. It's going to be your family. It's going to be anybody who's using technology. And it's a chance for you to be in front of somebody where you couldn't necessarily be there otherwise.
That's awesome, man. Well, if anybody wants to go learn more about you or StreetText, where should they head?
StreetText.com would probably be the best start. If you're interested, I know there's a link that I provided to you. If you're interested to learn how Donna Swansea, who's one of my favorite clients, she's using BombBomb. She's done 100 transactions with us. We've actually built a course that we have provided. So we'll share that link with you. And that will show you how she's leveraging BombBomb and video to generate leads through Facebook. But most importantly, it's lead generation means nothing. I generate leads for people all day. It's how she's taking these leads and creating value and making them, people that she has a relationship with. That's where she got those 100 deals. They were all initially there looking to see what they could sell their home for. And 2.5 years later, 100 of those have become clients of hers. And more importantly, they have become people that, they love her. Mm-hmm. Every one of those are now her friend. And I mean, who knows what's going to come out of that in terms of repeat and referral business.
That's awesome. I just shared that link in there so everyone can go check that out. Head over to StreetText, see what they're doing. You guys got Facebook, Instagram handles you want people to go check out?
Yeah, we have just tune into, we have a StreetText Facebook business page. So go there, and every day, Steve and I have been starting a Coffee Chats live YouTube channel. So if you want to tune in at 8 a.m. Monday through Friday and just hear what we have to say and what's happening in our world, 8 a.m. Monday through Friday, we'll provide that link too, but just tune into our StreetText business page and probably just type in StreetText on YouTube and you can find that live channel.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for your time today, man. Really love this conversation. Thank you for everybody watching and joining us on the BombCast. We're going to make sure you join us next week as well as we continue. Really, so far, August is shaping up as my favorite month of the BombCast. The quality of our guests, the type of stuff that we're talking about is insane. I believe next week we have Elaine coming on. She is a real estate agent in Hawaii who's absolutely been crushing it with some really amazing tactics and strategies that we want to bring to you guys. And don't forget, at the end of the month, August 30th, I believe, is going to be our 1-year BombCast anniversary episode. We're lining up the guests. We'll be bringing back some of our favorites. We're going to have a freaking party together with like 10 people on here all at the same time. It's going to be amazing. You're going to want to make sure you join us for that as well. So have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you guys next week on the BombCast. And thank you again, Markus.
Thank you.